Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Leading the Way in Education. I'm your host, Andrea De La Cerda, and each week I'm bringing you insightful discussion and news about changes in the landscape of education and entrepreneurship. As a 22-year entrepreneur, corporate executive, business coach, and leader, I mentor a community of change-making men and women to get out of their box, step into their true calling in order to make the biggest impact. I believe that increasing conflict in the world today is a sign of the need for systemic change and a call for authentic feminine power and passion to help make that happen. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic, the evolving expectations of Gen Z when it comes to college and career readiness and just overall future success. Having 4 kids of my own, all from Generation Z, I've seen firsthand how differently they approach their education and career paths compared to previous generations, like myself. From understanding their unique lingo like simp, drip, bet, riz, fit, glow up, cap, sus, and bussin'. Boy, that was quite an education for me. To unraveling their decision-making processes, I'm here to shed light on what makes this generation tick. Can these insights tell us something about this younger generation that may provide a glimpse into our future workforce? One thing the data definitely reveals is the transactional nature of their buying decisions, including college. And with college costs continuing to rise, the questions relating to the value of college really makes a lot of sense. And what makes an education valuable? While their parents might say it's about college pedigree, maybe, and the network that you're purchasing, or really simply the best education that aligns with your career goals, for Gen Z, it isn't necessarily the case. Their historically marginalized experiences have led them to evaluate these important decisions really differently. Inclusivity takes center stage. While previous generations may have evaluated such a life-changing decision by being attracted to schools full of students just like them, today it's much less true. With 49% non-white, 28% identify as LGBTQ. 28%, that's basically 1 in 4. There's never been a generation that cares more about diversity and inclusion than this one. This generation is making choices that reflect their values of inclusivity and diversity. They're less interested in attending institutions that are homogenous and more attracted to schools that celebrate and support a very diverse student body, with a significant portion of Gen Z identifying as non-white and LGBTQ. They, of course, want to seek environments where they feel represented and supported, and where they feel that their friends are represented and supported. But they also have a very diverse approach to education in another way. For some, it's about practical skills and job readiness. But for others, it's about finding a school that resonates with their personal values and interests. But one common thread is very clear. The Gen Z is evaluating college and career decisions through a lens of inclusivity and relevance. But the value of education is another area where they may not align with their parents so much. Unlike previous generations who may have prioritized college pedigree or the prestige of a university, Gen Z is more focused on the tangible benefits and practical outcomes of their education. So with the rising cost of college, they're asking really critical questions about what is the return on investment here, and whether the education that they receive will actually translate into real-world success. These are very reasonable questions. To be honest, I think, why didn't previous generations ask these questions? It begs the question, right? But these are reasonable questions to ask. There's also a transactional nature to their decisions. Gen Z's approach to education and career is often described this way. They weigh the cost against the potential benefits, and they're keenly aware of the financial implications. I have to say that this is one area that I've been a bit grateful for when I think back on when I made my college decisions, I didn't necessarily consider the cost at the time, as a young 18-year-old. Uh, I figured my parents would figure it out, but I definitely noticed the shift now with my own children that they really think about this. Wait, this is a lot of money. And what am I going to get from this? And this pragmatic approach is really reshaping how they view higher education and career opportunities, really pushing for more practical and diverse options. And when you think about it, there really are so many different ways to dice and splice education. We've had a traditional pattern of this four-year university. Does it always have to look like that? No. And I think that young people now today are seeing it doesn't have to look. I can sometimes I can choose my own adventure. Sometimes I might do community college first for a couple of years and then transfer. But there's so many, or even vocational school. There's so many ways of approaching education than I think were previously really recognized. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this generation, which I absolutely love, is their entrepreneurial spirit. The entrepreneurial spirit of Gen Z is just vibrant. It's a transformative force. It's reshaping the landscape of business with really fresh ideas and innovative approaches. And for young women, this generation embodies a fearless and dynamic approach that's both inspiring and it's practical. Gen Z entrepreneurs are really characterized by their really deep understanding of digital tools and social media, using these platforms to build brands and engage with audiences in really unprecedented and new ways. And they're driven by a passion for purpose. So those two together, the digital experience and the passion for purpose, that really comes together in a really powerful way that prioritizes social impact and inclusivity alongside profitability. Unlike previous generations, Gen Z, it really approaches entrepreneurship with a blend of that creativity and pragmatism. So they're adept at leveraging technology to streamline operations, enhance customer experiences, and scale their ventures very quickly compared to those in the past. And they value that authenticity and transparency. So those business models reflect a commitment to ethical practices and community involvement. I think we're going to see new businesses sprout from this generation that really embrace the social impact aspect, the community service, but in a way that the user experience is super clean and is so easy and engaging. And what I love the most is that they're not afraid to challenge traditional business norms. They really embrace that unconventional career path. As I mentioned, also freelancing or remote work. And thanks to the pandemic, they're known for their resilience and their adaptability in the face of uncertainty. This entrepreneurial journey is marked with a willingness to experiment, learn from failures, and pivot strategies quickly, which really will serve them in the future. And for young women, if you're out there, if you're a younger woman and you even perhaps identify with this generation, understanding and harnessing that entrepreneurial spirit offers you such a powerful opportunity to drive innovation and really lead with confidence. Your approach to business is a testament to your ability to blend ambition with compassion and technology with human connection and risk-taking with strategic thinking. So embracing these qualities can inspire and empower young women to really embark on their own entrepreneurial journeys, fostering a new wave of creativity in the business world. And what does this mean for the future workforce is the question. Insights from Gen Z suggest a shift toward a workforce that values that inclusivity, practical skills, diverse experiences. Employers and educational institutions should be aware that they need to adapt to these changing expectations to attract and retain young talent. Understanding Gen Z's values and priorities can help shape future strategies in both education and employment. So, as we wrap up today's episode, it's clear that Gen Z is redefining what it means to pursue education and build a career, and perhaps even start their own new venture. Their focus on inclusivity, practical value, and real world outcomes is a departure, in some cases, extreme departure from traditional norms, but it offers a glimpse into a more diverse and more pragmatic future for our country. And by understanding these evolving expectations, we can better support the next generation in making informed and impactful decisions. And we can also identify more clearly opportunities that we can leverage those young people in our workforce. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Inspire podcast this week. Until next time, keep exploring and embracing the changes that are shaping our world. Please, if you enjoyed this episode and you're liking this series, review, like, and subscribe. Please tune in next week for another new episode. Thank you so much and take care.